Whoa, okay. That's exciting. Good morning. I apologize for the rude awakening there. Looks like a lot of people decided to stay in bed and wait for it to warm up a little bit today, I guess. So we're going to start with a short hymn sing today. We're going to start with Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing, number 126. 126 or 128? 126. Yeah. And if a couple choir members want to help. We're going to do, hopefully you've all been given the teal hymnal, even though there might not be any. We could go to number 1026, If Every Woman in the World. I just chose this one for the hymn sing based on the hoping to end the war. 1026.
If every woman in the world Good morning. Welcome to the Community Church of Chapel Hill, Unitarian Universalist. I'm Alexa Adamo Valverde, a member of the Worship Associates Ministry here at the church. I especially want to welcome any visitors or newcomers to our church and to call your attention to the special note for you on the back side of the order of service. Welcome guests and newcomers. I would also like to welcome any of you attending online. Lyrics to hymns and all elements of the service are found on the live stream screen, and a complete order of service is on the this morning's announcements in the email, in the link with the Sunday morning email, and on the church's website. Thank you. Please join us in community immediately following service for our in-person Sunday social. And lastly, please turn off or silence any cell phones to maintain a worshipful experience. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you arrived at this beloved place, you are welcome here. For within these walls, we will now have Kathleen Farinola speak to us about our upcoming auction.
Good morning. I have some good news about the auction. People have still been donating items, and we now have more than 330 items. What? What? Who? White Rabbit, can I help you? White Rabbit, can I help you? What's the problem?
Yes, I'm late for bidding on the church auction.
Oh, White Rabbit, you're not too late. There are still there are still 6 days left until bidding ends this next Saturday, October 14th at noon. So you still have time, but it is getting very late, and you need to get your bids in because there's incredible items in the church auction. I mean, there are these wonderful planned events people are having in their homes. There's delicious dinners, there's art for your walls, there's basketball tickets, there's garden items, there's entertainment. There are so many things. It's a wonderland of auction items. There's even a tea party.
Geez, so I'm not too late?
No, you're not too late, and you still have time to become part of the fun of the church auction, which is really a big community event because, you know, you interact with people as you're exchanging some of the items or going to the events and meeting new friends, and it's a big part of the church budget, or it's an important part of the church budget, and so we really need your support. So we hope that you will get your bids in. You have your clock, so you know what you need to do. So, are you all set now, White Rabbit? And if you have any questions, you just go on the church website to the auction site. There are instructions there for bidding. If you need printouts, we have them at the auction table after the service. So stop and see us.
It's not too late. It's not too late for a very important date, the church auction.
Please stand in body or in spirit for our opening hymn, number 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are, in the gray hymnal.
So we'll do this a couple times in unison, and then we'll do it as a round.
come.
A Call to Worship by David Blanchard. Come down off the ladder. Wash out that paintbrush. Shake the sand out of your shoes. Get up off your muddy knees and give the garden a morning off. Fold up the newspaper. Turn off the coffee pot. Close up the calendar already filled with dates and times and people and places that claim you. This church is ready for you to fill its rooms, to create its spirit, to generate its warmth, to kindle its light. This church is ready for you to make community, to create beauty, to bend it toward justice, to serve its ideals. This church is ready for you to be here, honoring our past, invigorating our present, and dreaming our future. This is your church. Here we are home. Here we are whole. Let us begin. Come, let us worship together.
You will find the words to the chalice lighting in your order of service. If you wish to do so, please join in reading. Into this home, we bring our hunger for awakening. We bring compassionate hearts and a will towards justice. Into this home, we bring the courage to walk on after hard losses. Into this home, we bring our joy and gratitude for ordinary blessings. By our gathering here, we bless this place. In its shelter, we know ourselves blessed.
The song Umbe that we're about to sing, I chose for the new member recognition because it's a Canadian Indigenous tribe song from Canada, and the lyrics translation are, "Come in, two-legged beings, come in, all people, there is good life here."
At this time, we are going to honor those who have, within the past several months, made the decision to become members of this church community. Our last new member recognition ceremony was held, I think it was on June 11th. And so we are going to recognize this morning both those who have joined the church over the past 3 or 4 months, as well as we're also going to have recognized some people who were part of the spring group of new members, but who weren't able to be recognized in front of the congregation. So I want to invite Rachel to come up and read the list of names, and as she does, if you hear your name called, or if you believe your name will be called, you're welcome to come up and line across the front of the sanctuary in front of the piano.
Rena Lavender, Ella Rosen, Rose Graysmith, Emily Vano, Annie Duty, Joanne Dunn, Dallas Stromberg, Nan Gwynn, Janet Stevens, Jean McKenna, Liz Ryan, and Carol Parker.
Welcome. On behalf of the Welcome Ministry, it is a joy to welcome you into this community of memory and hope. Each time we welcome a new member, we become something new. So we ask you, as our newest members, will you promise to walk together with us, sharing the joys and the responsibilities of membership? If so, please say, "We will." Members of the Community Church of Chapel Hill Unitarian Universalist, will you welcome these people into our congregation? Will you reach out to them in friendship, including them in our activities and fellowship? Will you be open to their unique gifts and perspectives? Will you extend a warm welcome to each of them, remembering that each of us was once a new member? If so, please say, "We will."
We will. Becoming a member of this church is an important, an important first step, but it is only a first step. I charge you new members to grow in your faith. More importantly, I charge you to find and share your special gifts with us. Ours is a shared ministry, and each of us has a crucial role to play. We need you. We need your energy. We need your ideas. As you give generously of yourselves, we all become richer.
And now what is going to happen is that Rachel will move down the line, presenting each of you with a chalice pin so that you can wear your faith proudly on your sleeve, or a lapel or whatever. And Ellie is going to follow, offering each of you a welcome bag, and I will follow last while offering a handshake. So it gets... and once we've made it through the line, then we will all applaud enthusiastically.
If anyone has a significant personal joy or sorrow, we invite you to come down to either side and then place a stone in the jar, give us your name, and share your joy or sorrow with us.
I'm Linda Thompson. Yesterday, our grandson is in a band, and he was performing at Shikori Hills. How many of you have gone to Shikori Hills? I thought I was liberal. And when I got there, it was like, wow. And it was just so wonderful because everybody was friendly and happy. We know why they were happy. But it was great. It was great. And maybe we'll go and camp next year. Who knows?
I'm Alexa, and I share a stone for joy. I share with this community that my brother had to get a kidney transplant back in April, but it didn't happen. But it happened in August, and it went really well. And yesterday was his first. He's a musician. It was his first live show, so he's back in action. So grateful.
My name is Rachel Rose, and I would like to share with the congregation the joy that Abigail Castaneda, our beloved, long-serving Sunday hospitality provider of over 20 years, is well on the road to recovery from her knee replacement, entire knee replacement. And with the support of this congregation, it helped her and her husband get through this very challenging time. So thank you all for your support. And also, it's a special joy for me every new member Sunday, because it shows that this is a place that people want to be part of, and I thank you all for making that so.
I place a final stone for any joy or concern that was not expressed today. So as we take a moment and just hold in our hearts all the feelings and thoughts of this community, the wonderful joys expressed today, and any sadnesses that we also hold. Take a moment to be together and hold each other in love. Thank you.
I want to invite you into a time of meditation, and we're going to do it as an embodied meditation and then as an embodied and sung meditation. So for this, you can do it seated or you can do it standing, but I'm going to welcome, if you feel like standing up, I invite you to do that, because we're going to move a little bit. And so for this, I invite you to kind of do as I do. We're going to put the backs of our hands together and kind of raise it up slowly. Put your hand to your mouth and bring it away. And come back to your heart. I invite you to stir a mixing bowl and to rock a baby. Take your hands and let them cross. I'll bring it back and do some swoops. I invite you to put one hand out and another hand, just like the Macarena. Feel yourself move from one side to the other. I invite you to reach down. You don't have to reach down very low. Bring your arms up overhead. And one more time, backs of the hands together. And raise up slowly. And we're going to do this with words. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, and wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Shall we sing together?
And now it is time for our offertory. Yes. Freely have we received gifts that minister to our needs of body and spirit. Gladly we bring to our church and its wide concerns a portion of this bounty. If you wish to donate online, please use your camera to scan the QR code on the back of the order of service and click on the button that takes you to our internet page. And there is information on our church's website to donate online as well. And we will now receive the morning offering.
This fall is a season of anniversaries in our church. Back at the end of August, we had a heartwarming multi-generational service followed by a lovely luncheon celebrating both the 70th anniversary of the founding of this church in 1953 and the 30th anniversary of our joining the Unitarian Universalist Association in 1993. Next Sunday, following the second service, we're going to be having a celebration to honor Glenn Merbach for his 20 years, 2 decades of making music as our music director, celebrating that milestone. And by the way, I do want to point out that Marion Hirsch, actually, she reached the 20-year milestone as our director of religious education in the summer of 2020. And in the summer of 2020, there was simply no good way to gather for a worthy celebration or party in the summer of 2020 or 2021 for that matter. And, you know, like many people who had graduations, weddings, memorial services during that time, there was that difficult decision about whether to try to come together to do something that didn't feel right, or maybe hopefully to do it after, whenever that is. But the good news is that we always have a chance to redeem ourselves, and it just so happens that the year 2024 will mark 25 years of religious education in our leadership, religious education leadership in our church by Marion. And if we were to plan something special for maybe the first week of June, just a thought, just putting that out there, that might be swell. But this morning I want to talk about a different anniversary, a personal anniversary, as this month, October 2023, marks the 20th anniversary of my ordination as a Unitarian Universalist minister. Back in the spring of 2003, the Shawnee Mission Unitarian Universalist Church in the suburbs of Kansas City, then a congregation of not quite 200 members, voted to call me as their minister. I was 25 years old. I actually have a picture of me, and if you catch me during coffee hour, I will have it with me, and you can see it. And I remember one of my memories of the candidating week with that congregation was that it was also that week, during that week was the week that the men's basketball coach of the University of Kansas Jayhawks, you may have heard of him, his name is Roy Williams, announced that he was resigning as coach of the Jayhawks to return to Chapel Hill. After Kansas, you go to Chapel Hill. Anyways, I began my ministry with them in August 2003, and in October of that year, 20 years ago, this month, they ordained me. During the service, they presented me with this stole as a gift. They sewed hands on the stole. The hands they traced were of the newest baby in the congregation, a child, a youth, the longest tenured member in the church, and the newest member of the church. And the quilters, they asked my input, and I told them that my favorite color was orange, and that they should make the stole as bright as possible because we were going to have so many people coming to church that the minister was going to have to go out and direct traffic after the service. And we did, and I did. I was kind of brash at 25. But what I want to do this morning is to preach from my own story, to talk about what drove me to become a church nerd, to share a few of my formative experiences in ministry, and to talk a bit about what drives me still. I didn't have an easy time as a young person. In elementary school and middle school and into high school, I struggled to fit in socially. I increasingly struggled with loneliness, isolation, depression. And I felt like an outcast most of the time, consumed by angst and at times by anger. In this way, I was a whole lot like a lot of other young people. So often we falsely believe that we are alone, all alone in our struggles. And in the midst of what I was going through as a teenager, church saved me. Church, and especially the youth group of the First Parish in Wayland, was the place where I found a warm welcome and unconditional acceptance. It was a place where I could be myself, and it was a place where I could become myself. It was a place of meaningful and nourishing connection. It was a place that encouraged me and nurtured me into faith and into leadership. It saved my life. I don't mean to be melodramatic, but I simply cannot imagine myself getting through those years of my life without the church providing me with roots to hold me close and wings to set me free. And in response to that welcome and embrace and invitation, I fell in love with church and became a church nerd. I went beyond the youth group and beyond the district youth conferences that fed my soul. I grew to love the worship services. I studied the sermons and the hymnal. I was fascinated by the amazing people who were the ministers, the youth advisors, the volunteers. And I found myself finding ways to spend as much time with them as I could. I volunteered to teach second grade religious education. I read the UU World magazine cover to cover. I memorized the principles. I became fascinated with this faith. I became a church nerd. When I first became a minister in suburban Kansas City, one of the first new members to join the church was a middle-aged man. Upon joining, he poured himself into church involvement. He took over the church gardening. He sung tenor in the choir. He took my preaching practicum class. He even served as president of the church. And after some number of years as a member of the church, he asked to meet with me. And he came into my office and told me that he had been living his life in denial, trying to hide and suppress the fact that he was a gay man. He told me he was planning to come out in order to finally become the person he truly was. And this coming out was going to cause a lot of upheaval in his life. But he had to face that difficulty because he could no longer bear not to live his truth. And I said back to him, I said, "My friend, you are beloved by me and by this church. We all love you, and we will support you, and we will all cheer for you, and we will all have your back." And we did. And we did. Here's something that I know to be true. Nobody ever shows up at a Unitarian Universalist church by accident. Nobody ever shows up at a Unitarian Universalist church by accident. Nobody is ever like, "I just wasn't in the mood for brunch today. I'm just going to go to a worship service instead and have a little coffee after, and let me just pick a random church to attend. Oh, this one that begins with a U, that looks good." Nobody does that. The reasons why people come are varied. They are lonely and want deeper connection in a community. They are parents who know that church is something they want for their children. They're wanting to work on something in their own life. They're in pain and are in search of healing. They want to make a difference in the world and work for their deepest values with others who share those values. Or they aren't completely sure what they are looking for, but they know there's something they want in their life and they're trying to figure out what that is. Nobody ever shows up at a Unitarian Universalist church by accident. And that's the great fun, the great honor, the great responsibility of being a minister or of being a music director or of being a membership director or of being a director of religious education or of being a religious education teacher or of being a leader or of being a member of the caring ministry or of being a member of the welcoming ministry, and on and on and on. The great fun, honor, and responsibility is that you get to be a part of the transformation of the lives of the people who come through these doors. And you get to be a part of transforming your own life in the process. How cool is that? My childhood church welcomed me, embraced me, transformed me, brought me into the fullness of my life. That church in Kansas welcomed that man as a new member, embraced him, helped him to come out to the truth and the joy and the beauty and the pride of his life. Back in Kansas City, we grew at my first church. We grew in a lot of ways, including in numbers, rapidly. We nearly doubled in size, from 180-ish members to 340-ish. And I found myself, as the leader, repeating mantras over and over and over again. Nobody ever shows up at a Unitarian Universalist church by accident. Unitarian Universalist churches save lives. To fail to be welcoming is to turn away someone who wants this church's ministry. And what become my favorite mantra of all, that's a good problem to have. Practice saying it with me. That's a good problem to have. It's hard to find a parking space on Sunday morning. That's a good problem to have. The sanctuary is full. That's a good problem to have. There are people I don't know. That's a good problem to have. There are babies crying during the prayer. That's a good problem to have. Those are the problems of a living, thriving church. Don't ever get upset about being a part of a living church. I want to weave in here another church story. I have so many church stories that were formative, but I love this one. It's a funny story. On maybe my second, third, fourth time in the pulpit in suburban Kansas City, before I was even ordained, I selected Amazing Grace as the closing hymn of a worship service. And in the receiving line after the service, someone came up to me and said, "I love Amazing Grace. We should sing that every single week." And then like 2 people later, and I don't think they heard each other, someone passed me in the line and said, "I hate Amazing Grace. We should never sing it again." And I wish I had had the presence to say to that person, "There's somebody I'd like you to meet." This really happened, and it was actually striking to me and has been striking ever since. It became one of my formative lessons in ministry that neither person was going to be happy. We were not going to sing Amazing Grace every week, and we were not going to never sing Amazing Grace again. And if I tried to make one person happier, I was going to make that other person unhappier. And I decided that the only thing I could do was to try to disappoint them both. And that maybe that disappointment would be a part of their transformation if they actually understood each other. Some people want amazing grace and some people do not. Some people want quiet stillness, and others want the warm, friendly buzz of hugs and, hey, how are you doing? And great to see you. Some people want lots and lots of God, and others don't. Some people want European classical music, and others want a rock band. Some people want church to speak frequently about politics, and others do not. Some want the church to be bolder and more outspoken, and want the church to be an engine driving activism in the community. And others do not. So it was, and so it is, and so it ever shall be. And this led me to a final mantra, which is that what you most strongly dislike may be exactly what the person sitting next to you most deeply needs. What you most strongly dislike may be what the person sitting next to you most deeply needs. So church leads us out of ourself and into encounter and into community with people who are different, with people with different needs and different desires and different paths. And that's the fun of it all. Nobody ever shows up at a Unitarian Universalist church by accident. Unitarian Universalist churches save lives. To fail to be welcoming is to turn away someone who wants this church's ministry. That's a good problem to have. And what you most strongly dislike may be what the person sitting next to you most deeply needs. And so we shine this little light of ours. We let it shine. We let it shine, we let it shine. Because there's someone down in the valley. Someone down in the valley trying to get home. And this light may encourage and guide. Amen. Blessed be, and thank you for celebrating this fall of anniversaries. Our closing hymn this morning is one that's not in our hymnal. It is a piece written words by Kendall Gibbons and music by Jason Shelton called Life Calls Us On. The words are inside your order of service, and I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and to sing out.
With a pledge to one another
Please remain standing in body or in spirit. The words for extinguishing the chalice are in your order of service. Please join me if you wish to do so. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please join me in thanking all who contributed to making the service so worshipful this morning. And please join us in singing Shalom. The words are in your order of service. And as you are comfortable, please either hold your hands with the person next to you or cross them over your heart.
Shalom.